The next topic is all about the guidelines for using gender-sensitive language in reporting. The guidelines for gender-sensitive media reporting have been developed in order to support the media in their efforts to depict the world in more gender-sensitive and gender-responsive manner. The guidelines are divided into 4 sections, each convening one aspect of gender-sensitive reporting. We have Section 1, the selection of sources and stories in order to achieve balanced presence of women and men in media, reflecting the composition of society and human experiences. In order to achieve more gender equality in the content in the media, try to pay attention to achieve balanced representation of women and men seen, heard, or read about news and current affairs, including men and women as of sources of information, opinions, and expertise, and sources represent range of opinions coming from diverse groups. The second one is fair portrayal of women and men through elimination of stereotypes and promotion of multidimensional representation or portrayal. The media plays a very significant role in shaping public perceptions about women and men. Therefore, it is important that reporting avoids any form of gender stereotypes, which often limits and trivialize women's and males, as well as representing an inaccurate view of the world and its possibilities. The third one is use of gender-sensitive language. Structures of many societies have been based on assumptions of sex-bias rules, which are entrenched in the use of language that misrepresents, excludes, or offends women. Careful use of language and images in the media will give a more accurate reflection of your audience or readership, and this can positively affect people's consciousness over time. And the last one is gender equality within the media organizations. In order to achieve greater gender equality in organization, try to balance representation of women and men in ownership, business management, board positions. Develop policies on gender equality or codes of conduct. Develop a human resource policy on gender equality. And set the gender desk or gender mainstreaming officer for monitoring and evaluation of gender equality.
The next topic is about gender-sensitive language in writing. You may find yourself needing to refer to a person whose gender you're uncertain of. Using gender-sensitive language requires some extra efforts, but doing so will save your time editing your articles for submission and will increase your chances of getting published. Here are some few alternatives that, depending on a context, can prove effectively. First, avoid using man to refer to all persons. Instead of the average man, use the average person or average individual. Instead of mankind, use humans, person, humankind, or people, depending on the context. The second, make use of job titles that are free from gender stereotyping. For example, use fisher instead of fisherman, flight attendant instead of stewardess, salesperson instead of salesman, administrative assistant instead of secretary, chairperson instead of chairman. Next is pronouns. Avoid using he or his when referring to all persons. Try the following instead. Replace he and his with he or she or his or her. For example, a citizen is allowed to vote in the primary if he has registered in advance. It becomes a citizen is allowed to vote in the primary if he or she registered in advance. Note that he or she is a much better alternative to his or him, an alternative which should be avoided. Using sprangly, however, resorting to he or she more than once in a sentence or in various sentences in a row will affect style. The next is pluralize the sentence. Make all cases pluralize. An example, an effective teacher will have good presentation skills to market himself and his ideas. It becomes, effective teacher will have good presentation skills to market themselves and their ideas. The last one, alternative you might want to avoid. Replacing he or she, his and her with they or their without pluralizing the antecedent. For example, if a student wants to succeed in class, all he has to do is complete his assignments. And it becomes, if a student wants to succeed in class, all they have to do is complete their assignments. Many authors and speakers use the singular there as an easy way to avoid the more awkward repetition of he or she. Although this usage is commonly and hotly debated among the scripted and prescripted grammarians, it is generally unacceptable in formal academic writing. There is no magic formula for transforming gender language into gender-neutral language. Different contexts call for different strategies. And that would be all. Thank you.